Protein shakes, I just think, are truly evil. Do not be doing those, young guys. It's probably the fastest way to liver problems, vitamin A depletion known to mankind. Just stop it. Eat real food, number one principle.
What are your thoughts on ideal protein intake and bioavailability in women at various ages when it comes to plant and animal protein? And should we be advocating for more protein in peri and postmenopausal women for bone and muscle health as they age?
Good question. There's a lot in there. Keep it simple. Animal protein above plant protein every time. A sort of simple principle kind of person when it comes to this. So I'm not someone who ever advises people to count things. So I don't say work out your grams of protein or count this or count that. I just, again, come at it from principle. So I would say if you eat protein in the way that it comes in food, I don't think you can go far wrong. So don't cut the skin off a chicken breast. Skinless chicken breasts are too high in protein relative to the fat that you were supposed to eat with them. If you're having some pork, the pork chop comes with some fat. Don't go and eat everyone else's fat, particularly if you've got a weight problem. Don't go stupid, but eat the fat that naturally comes with your food. So if you've got a marbled ribeye or whatever, eat the fat that naturally comes with your ribeye. Don't go for low-fat dairy. You need the fat nutrients, and they're found in the high-fat dairy or whatever. So as long as you're not doing stupid protein things, which to me are white fish, not oily fish, chicken, skinless breasts, protein shakes, I just think are truly evil. Do not be doing those, young guys. It's probably the fastest way to liver problems, vitamin A depletion known to mankind. Just stop it. Eat real food, number one principle. If you're following our guidelines of eat real food, choose the food for the nutrients it provides, and eat no more than 3 times a day. If you don't like breakfast, don't have it, but don't go and have 5 meals. You won't have to worry about it too much because nature has put the stuff out there for you. You're going to be okay. If you then stopped for a while, and particularly if you try to get some variety in your diet, and then you put what you eat on a weekly basis into an app, you should be really pleasantly surprised. Oh yeah, I am getting my zinc, I am getting my DHA and my EPA, I'm getting kind of what I need, and I am getting the protein that I need. I wouldn't advise people as they age, not just women, yes, menopausal women, but just people generally as they age. Of course, we have to worry about sarcopenia, which is the loss of muscle mass, basically muscle definition, muscle strength. I still don't think you should do anything daft. Like, still don't go and start having skinless chicken breasts and only white fish and starting protein shakes.
Right.
I'd say make sure you keep up getting the protein. So a lot of women, I think, when they get to menopausal age and they start worrying more about their weight, so then they might be tempted to go more low-fat dairy, for example. That seems to be an easy choice for people to make. Oh, if I didn't have proper milk in the morning, I could save loads of calories, kind of thing. Wrong thing to do. It's the fat that goes with the protein that you need for the satiety. So you need to keep those up. So I say more of the same thing, and you're not going to enter the menopause with a weight problem if you're following those principles, avoiding junk food, and also doing other healthy things like weight bearing, exercise, regular, mix it up. I'm a huge fan of CrossFit. I think in the earlier slide, it was very nice. You saw me presenting in a summer dress or whatever, and I was thinking, oh yeah, I had the arms then, and I've just got back from holiday. You probably see from the colour, it's like, yeah, the arms have been out. I got pretty good arms actually, and that's being normal, low to normal body weight. Everyone's got muscles. It's just a lot of people have got them covered. We've all got a 6-pack, but just in a lot of people, it's covered with body fat. So you have to get to a low enough body fat to unpack it. But then it's actually about using your muscles in a natural way. So lifting things and swimming and crawling around on the floor and doing yoga and all of that kind of good stuff.
It's really easy to continue eating your meat. Don't avoid it. If you're not eating enough meat, then obviously add it, but don't trim away the fat. Eat it the way God kind of packaged it for you. I would lean toward just eat animal meat because you absorb most of it. Actually, can you touch upon, do you know what the bioavailability of protein is in like plants and animal protein? Like, is there some web tool online that we can use to figure that out? And is that important?
Yeah, there probably is, but for me it's more the complete protein. So again, there's an article on my website. I'm trying to think what you would put in to call it up. It might be the word chickpeas. or it might be animal versus plant protein. But I saw something on Medscape once, and it said, chickpeas are just as good as eggs or something. So I thought, okay, that's going to be my Monday note, because that is just complete nonsense. I went through all the amino acids in chickpeas and comparing them with eggs. And of course, they're incomparable, because going back to what we have to eat, what is an essential nutrient? Essential in nutrition means something we must eat. The body doesn't make it. So there are 9 essential amino acids. And not only are they found more in animal protein, they're found in the right proportions in animal protein. So I think when I go through that exercise with the chickpeas and the eggs, yeah, they've got those essential amino acids, but they don't have the right amount, and they don't have it in the right ratio. So you end up, and I forget which one it is, I think lysine is one of them, or methy or whatever, you just don't quite get enough. And so you say, oh, well, you can just eat more so you can get more, but then you're in the wrong balance, because then you were getting too many of the other things. I don't actually like eating meat. I don't tell people that very often. I'm a natural vegetarian. If what we eat had no impact on weight or health whatsoever, I would eat crap all day long. I would have fruit for breakfast. I love fruit. It's so sweet. I would have chocolates. I would have croissants. I would have ice cream. Again, it would have to be, it has no impact. So it wouldn't make you feel rubbish. It wouldn't make you fat. It wouldn't give you diabetes. It had no impact whatsoever. I would be quite happy eating crap all day long. I know I feel better now eating real food, because I know that food has a massive impact on how you feel physically, mentally, emotionally, energy wise, and all the rest of it. But if someone gave me an honest choice and said it has no impact on anything, do you want a mushroom risotto or do you want a steak? I would actually choose the mushroom risotto, and that might surprise people.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely I was born in Brazil, grew up eating a lot of meat, and so I'd probably be just a carnivore. If it was more affordable. Oh yeah?
Yeah. And my hubby's definitely a carnivore. I mean, if he's just naturally keto, he gets up, he has bacon and eggs. For lunch, he'll have fish or eggs, dinner, steak, and then it's kind of, there's some green things on the side, but you kind of get the impression that it's only because he grew them in the garden. If he hadn't done that, he'd be like, yeah, who needs those? I got meat, and then I got cheese for pudding. What else do I need?
I'm very much the same.
I'm definitely, hey, we're all different, but what we need is the same. We're different in what we like, but what we need, we're the same.
So kind of the way I try to structure the interview is kind of dealing with all the meat topics, and I think we covered quite a bit. One that we didn't really get to is maybe if you could briefly, even like just a minute, bird's eye view. I know it can be challenging. Is your thoughts on like processed meat versus unprocessed? It seems like the research is a little mixed. Like, we should avoid unprocessed meat because it can increase risks of certain cancers. But then then there's other research that says actually the risk is really small and it doesn't really change too much. Like, have you had time to dive into kind of like the real meat versus processed meat?
Yeah, and I think it again comes back to what is natural. So I'm from Europe, and if you look at processed meat in Europe, so if you go into a delicatessen in France or the Mediterranean particularly, France, Spain, Italy, Greece, going into a delicatessen, Italy particularly, well, actually France too, the meat counter is meters long. And they've got salamis, and they've got dry cured this, that and the other, where they've basically preserved meat, because remember, we would catch the animal and we couldn't eat it all on, we did in the beginning, we had no means of preserving meat, but as soon as we learned how to preserve meat, either by salting it or hanging it out to dry, we were then able to sort of pace out the killing. So our foraging, it just became a lot more useful to us. It could sustain us over a much longer period of time. So to me, that is completely and utterly natural and completely and utterly healthy. Where processed meat starts going wrong, and I've actually heard Anthony say this as well, actually, I thought this was really amusing. He's worked it out too. The meat is not the issue, because we know that there's no evidence whatsoever against red meat. So if you then just dry it or salt it, there's no issue with salt either. You've still stayed within that we know there's nothing wrong with it. When you start adding other stuff to it, but then it's the other stuff. So you will quite often find sugars in processed meat. You'll find maltodextrin, you'll find wheat, you'll find rusk, you'll find fillers, other preservatives that might then make it not so healthy. I still don't think it's a problem. I mean, again, I've looked at the complete evidence on the USDA website when the International Association for Research into Cancer published their famous report. Those are the kind of reports that I do go after. And I remember at the time going through it, and it's like, is it this cancer? No. Is it that cancer? No. Is it that cancer? You come down to, oh, there might be an association with bowel cancer. And there's a particular, I'll try and find it for you if you do the show notes. There's a particular post when I dissected it, you know, what are you talking about here? They'll say, oh, there's a 25% risk difference. And of course, a 25% risk difference might still be the difference between 1 in 10,000 and 1.25 in 10,000. So who cares? But it's also, I think it was on, you had to eat, it was like 4 grams difference over a period of time. It was absolutely minute, the difference that it would make to health anyway. And yet they go and trumpet these big headlines from the rooftops or whatever. It's like, guys, it's just not an issue. When you actually get down to the absolute risk and how much you would have to eat to generate that absolute risk, it's like, guys, you're way more risky getting in a car or crossing the road or I don't know, not getting on an aeroplane. That's pretty safe. Actually, driving a car is the riskiest thing we ever do.
It's true.
If you're driving a car without due attention and you're worried about processed meat, you've not done your risk analysis the right way around.